What is going on, everybody? ZyoniK here, and in today's video, diving into the Ultra League. It is in rotation now, the first time this season, and Steelix is gone. Steelix got a massive nerf to Breaking Swipe, where it's a 50% chance now to lower or to debuff your opponent instead of 100% like it was in the past. Massive nerf. I haven't seen a single Steelix yet in any of my sets, but what got a buff was Poliwrath. It got access to Icy Wind. Now, if you guys have been keeping track of the videos this week, you guys saw me use it in the Great League, and it performed pretty well. Ultra League is where it really shines. It's where it's dominant. So we're going to be using that today, pairing it with a Wallrain lead and a Verizion anchor here. This team did very well for me, facing off against a lot of tough teams, but ultimately, the combination of this team and this movesets and the spam and everything, it was beautiful. I was able to come back from a lot of tough situations. So, I hope you guys enjoy, and let's go and get right into it. Alright, getting into the first battle, we have Wallrain versus Clefable here on the league. Clefable obviously destroys the backline, especially with Charm. So we need to stay in this matchup right here. And knowing, actually they decide to swap out, and they swap out into a Cresselia. This is bad news bears already. They have two answers for my fighters in the back. So my only play right now is to try to catch a Grass Knot on Verizion. That's like only win condition here, right? I can't catch Grass Knot on Poliwrath. We do catch it on Verizion right there, which is huge. Now, we're not necessarily going to be winning switch here in the mid game just because they have Confusion as the fast move, which is obviously going to do a lot. But we are getting shields, which is really cool, as we're going to go ahead and load up on energy and look to go for another Leaf Blade now. The opponent likely just going to commit to the full farm down, but this is obviously a tough situation. They had a Clefable on the lead, and they have a Cresselia safe swap, so we're already got our backs against the wall, having a double fighter team. But what you guys are going to see is just how strong this double fighter team can be. So we're going to go ahead and look to come back in with Wallrain right here. And look to go for Icicle Spear because I do have energy. So hopefully this gets shield number 2, which is going to be huge for us in order to potentially win this game. So we do throw it. We do get a shield. That's huge. And then we're going to go ahead and shield the Grass Knot, obviously, and look to go for another Icicle Spear basically right away to try to KO the Cresselia here. So this should be able to KO enough neutral damage, which it does. And then we will see the likely the Clefable come back in. Now, I should be able to get to an Earthquake in time, but I'm just going to go ahead and load up on energy as the opponent decides to throw. Now, obviously, my Wallrain needs to chunk the health here from Clefable, so I have to give up my final shield with the Meteor Mash, and they decide to swap out into a Giratina Altered. So, mind you, a Clefable, a Cresselia, and a Giratina Altered with a double fighter team, and we're going to be able to come back right here, as you guys are going to see the most aggressive farm down of all time as we go ahead and swap in with Poliwrath. Our only win condition now is to counter down, yes, counter down a ghost type Pokemon in the Ultra League, that being Giratina Altered, and just soak all of this damage right here because my only win con is to go for back-to-back Scalds against the Clefable. And as you guys can see, we are getting them low enough. Now, had the Clefable stayed in, right, we would have just Icicle Spirit or Earthquaked, and then we would have Icy Wind the Giratina Altered. So, this game could have been close. Icy Winds obviously do super effective damage against Giratina Altered and lower the attack, but a double Scald is going to be taking it for us. So, able to overcome an incredibly tough team to face off against. Boom. Good game, very well played. Alright, moving into the next one, we have Wallrain versus Lantern. I didn't think I'd see it up here, but there it is, right in front of me. I'm like, there's no way this is an Ultra League Best Buddy XL, thick as can be, Lantern. Like, it dominates the Great League, just stay there. But this trainer, obviously, has got the XL candies for it, so all the power to them. But I gotta try to overcome this bad situation. So I'm gonna go ahead and go for an Earthquake to get myself shield advantage. And then we are gonna go ahead and just go down. We gotta come in with Verizion right now and load up on energy. Hopefully they throw, which they do, as we resist Surf, and Thunderbolt. So let's see if we can take this game into the W. So we're going to go ahead and swap out as they bring in Mandibuzz, and Icy Wind plays a big role in this matchup. Before we had Ice Punch, which is still good, but Icy Wind is just better. It's just better because of the debuff. So we're going to go ahead and throw these Icy Winds here, do the super effective damage, apply the attack debuff so we become tankier. Every single time an Icy Wind lands, we get bulkier, right? Their attack is lowered, therefore it doesn't do as much damage, which makes us stronger, which makes Aerial Ace just do nothing. So we're going to go ahead and keep loading up on energy. I am concerned that of what they have in the back, but I feel like I need to keep a shield for Verizion potentially as I go ahead and go for an Icy Wind now. My timings on these snarls were horrible, but that's okay. They decide to swap back out into Lantern, so I'm going to go ahead and come in with the Verizion, saving the energy on my Poliwrath. They're switch locked now as well, so I'm free to go for a Leaf Blade after loading up a bit. And it doesn't do enough damage to KO, but I should be able to farm down here. I don't think they get to 2 Thunderbolts in time, and even if they did, I don't think it's enough damage to take us out, which is definitely not, so we should be able to fully farm down right here. And now it's just a matter of what they have in the back, and it is going to be a Cobalion. This is perfect. This is going to be doing super effective damage with the Sacred Sword. And obviously they're in a very tough position as we can go ahead and go for back-to-backs. Now, Switch Clock is coming back up. I noticed that right away. So I'm going to go ahead and counter swap when they throw, after this when they throw, because likely the Mandibuzz is going to come in and try to go for a Aerial Ace. So I'm going to go ahead and shield, counter swap, and they counter swapped at the same time. We counter down, and now we can go for a Scald here against Cobalion. And that is going to be basically KOing right here as it's a lot of neutral damage. We should be able to fast move down, and that is going to be a good game, very well played. Alright, getting into the next one. Verizion on the lead. This is another Pokemon that is very tough to deal with. And ultimately, thankfully, we can do super effective damage right back. But ultimately, I need to look to soak energy on something. And they're deciding to go for Leaf Blades. And we are creatures of habit, so I'm going to assume that they go for another Leaf Blade. Now, had they gone for Sacred Sword, I would swap into Poliwrath, but since they're throwing Leaf Blades, I'm going to swap into Verizion to catch the charge move here, as this will be heavily resisted, and it was, in fact, another Leaf Blade. So that's huge already on my Verizion. They swap in Giratina Altered. So we're just going to go ahead and go for Leaf Blades now. Obviously, it would be nice if we had Stone Edge. Verizion typically isn't the safe swap on this team. Poliwrath is our safe swap. But that was a unique situation, right? It was based on what move they did first, Sacred Sword or Leaf Blade. Since they did Leaf Blade, I decided to try to catch that charge move, which it paid off, right? We caught that resisted energy, which is huge. And now Leaf Blades right here, even though this is a dragon Pokemon, a tanky dragon Pokemon, it is still very spammy, and it still does enough chip damage where it's going to add up. It's going to get to the point here where Giratina Altered has to throw. They have to throw a charge move in order to take us out. They cannot fast move us down because we're just doing so much damage with Leaf Blade. We also survive right there, which is huge. We get another Leaf Blade off, and now we can come in and get a very healthy farm down with Wall Rain and Powder Snow, which is perfect because on the back end here against Verizion. Now, I think my opponent DC'd right there. I would have just no-shielded anyways, so sure, I would have a little bit less health. But they come in with Registeel, which makes me think they didn't DC. Maybe they wanted me to just farm down and they wanted more energy. I was a bit confused. I swap into Poliwrath now, and they come in with Verizion, but they get, sorry, I'm very sick. They get, they're just going to get fast move down. I can no-shield the Leaf Blade right here, and that is going to be a good game. We just counter down. We have a potential Earthquake on Wall Rain. We have Poliwrath here with Scald, and I think my opponent closed the app. So, yeah, that's going to be a good game, very well played. I just wanted to show you guys that one because of the decision-making based on a Verizion lead. You want to stay in, throw the Icicle Spear, see what they throw. If they throw a Sacred Sword, then you want to catch the next one on Poliwrath. If they throw a Leaf Blade, you want to catch the next one on Verizion, right? Because we're creatures of habit. We're going to do the same thing, and both are super effective damage against Wall Rain. So we take that one right there. My opponent closed the phone, and that's going to be a good game. All right, moving into the next one, we have Guzzlord on the lead. Pretty positive lead, but another tough situation. They come in with Clefable. Clefable is definitely a tough Pokemon for this team to deal with because it just does so well against both the lead and our backline. Meteor Mash is neutral. It's a fairy, so it does well against fighters. So we're going to go ahead and go for an Icicle Spear here, and we do get a shield, which is actually pretty good. And I'm hoping I can throw an Earthquake and get that to land, but another charge move will be coming through. And the reason why I'm not swapping out or thinking about it is because Poliwrath does well against Guzzlord. It's a dark dragon. We have counter and Icy Wind, so I'm not too concerned there. I'm more concerned about making sure I get rid of this Clefable, so I'm going to go ahead and swap into Verizion and go for the Leaf Blade right away, either getting shield number 2, which I think would be pretty big, or just taking out the Clefable, which is what happened here. Oh, now there's a Skeledirge in the back. This is so difficult right here. Now I misclick right here. You should be going Leaf Blade. Don't go Sacred Sword like I did right there. I was just really frustrated and threw the wrong charge move. You got to go Leaf Blades here. But ultimately, Skeledirge is very difficult or potentially difficult for this team in the wrong situations. A good situation would be we get healthy farm downs with either Walrein or Poliwrath, and we have Scald and Earthquake. That is something we can handle. But ultimately, the matchup here with a Skeledirge getting aggressive farm down, I'm going to go ahead and counter swap into Walrein. They do decide to throw anyways instead of fast moving down. Which is good for me because that's some energy gone. And my hope here is that I can still overcome this. We have an opportunity. I do need to double shield Disarming Voices, obviously. But there's a Guzzlord in the back, which is a Pokemon we can easily take down. So we're just going to go ahead and load up on energy and pray that they decide to swap out or no shield or something goes our way. So they're going to go ahead and swap out, which is perfect. Guzzlord comes in. We're going to go for the Icy Wind right away. This is going to do, obviously, super effective damage. And then now we can farm down. As you guys can see, I wasn't worried about keeping Walrein alive because of Poliwrath's matchup right here. Now, I definitely was not reading a Skeledirge in the back. That's a very strong Pokemon that they do have. So a really cool team. Pretty ugly shiny right there, not gonna lie. Guzzlord, hot take, that's ugly shiny, but we do have a back-to-back Scald now on Poliwrath, but they have one shield, and we go for the next one, but we lose CMP tie, unfortunately. So that is going to be a good game. We had our win condition there, which was having a back-to-back charge move. I got there, but ultimately they had the energy. So good game. All right, moving into the next one, we have Gliscor here on the lead. Very positive matchup, and they swap in not a Shadow Victory Bell, just a normal Victory Bell, and I'm like, I'm taken away. Today I've seen a Lantern on the lead. I've seen a Victory Bell. Like, what is going on? People are just like, you know what? I love the Great League so much. I'm going to bring it to Ultra League. The Victory Bell is pretty spicy for Ultra League. Not going to lie. I think it doesn't have a lot of targets. And even the targets that it does have, they can fight right back in a lot of situations. So Victory Bell here, looking to go for the Leaf Blade. That's why I brought in Verizion to help resist the fast move and charge moves. And then we're going to go ahead and go for Sacred Swords. I need to go for 2 in order to take them out. I don't want to get hit with another charge move right here, so we're just going to go ahead and go for it right away. We already have shield advantage because of Walrein's Icicle Spear there against the Victory Bell. So we take it out. They come in with a Granbull with Charm, and obviously this is a tough situation. I think Poliwrath can still take it against Gliscor, because Gliscor typically runs Night Slash and Earthquake, and we have access to Scald and Icy Wind, so I'm not too concerned. I have 2-to-1 shield advantage. I just want to make sure that I put pressure here and get this Granbull out of the game. And this is going to be a good one. Gliscor, unfortunately, just doesn't have the health, the energy, or the shields remaining in order to win. But a very spicy Pokemon with the Victory Bell there from my opponent. So hats off to them. Was not expecting that. Was very cool to see. But thankfully, I did have a Verizion on my team to resist those moves. And thankfully, I did have Walrein with Powder Snow and Icicle Spear, which is obviously very nice and very spammy for that grass coverage. Grass and dragon coverage is huge. And flyers, Walrein's just fantastic. And I think with Steelix being gone, Walrein is going to become a bit more meta, a bit stronger here because of its capability to handle a lot of the other meta that we see. All right, moving into the next one. I'm so sorry, guys. I'm sick today, but we got Giratina Altered here on the lead, so really positive matchup for us, and they're looking to stay in. So we'll go ahead and take this. Obviously, we want to destroy the Giratina Altered so that our backline has a bit more play for the end game. But we don't know what they have in the back, and it could be something. It could be like a Clefable, right? Giratina Altered's weak to Dark. Clefable counters Darks. So I am concerned about that potentially. Now they do have access to Ancient Power, which can be a charge move that takes us out if we go too deep in this fight. So I decided to go for the Icicle Spear here, and we take out Giratina Altered. Now they swap in a Scizor there. I thought it was Escavalier because it was Bug Steel, and my first thought, you always want to be looking at the top right on the typing, right? But because you'll see that before you see the Pokemon, I thought it was Escavalier. I needed to swap right away. But this works out too. It was a Scizor, which Poliwrath can destroy, and Swampert right here, we're safely shielding the Earthquakes. We're going for Icy Winds. There's just not a lot they can do, unfortunately, as both Pokemon struggle against Poliwrath because of its typing and moveset. And like I said, Icy Wind, huge update on Poliwrath. It becomes an absolute monster in the meta with those debuffs, as we can counter down. And then the Scizor coming in, we can easily go for Scald here and do a lot of neutral damage. We are resisting the Bullet Punch, and my opponent decided to... A lot of people are closing their apps today against me. Good game to my opponent, but we will counter down. Ultimately, obviously, Walrein lead into Giratina, and a Poliwrath is tough for them to deal with. I don't think they had a win con there. Good game. Alright, moving into the next one, we have Walrein versus Conkeldurr. Now, this is a cool Pokemon that I haven't seen in a while. I'm going to swap into Poliwrath right away, get ahead on energy, and in comes a Charizard. Now, this is an interesting matchup. This is actually a Charizard with Fire Spin instead of Wing Attack. I will recommend that you guys run Wing Attack if you can. It is worth the Legacy Fast TM as well, or the, Elite Fast TM. For the Legacy move. There it is. And this is really good because we have access to Icy Wind. It's applying debuffs, and because of our water typing, we resist Blast Burns. So as you guys are going to see right here, I'm going to let this go, and it's going to be a Blast Burn, and it just doesn't do anything. Look at that. That's huge. Poliwrath, absolute monster. Charizard is not a counter to it. We're going to go ahead and go for the Icy Wind. We've already gotten ourselves Shield Advantage, so we're going to take Switch Advantage as well. So yes, Switch and Charge Advantage, or Shield Advantage, sorry. And Verizion can come in now against the Conkeldurr. I'm going to go ahead and go for Leaf Blade here. I'm not sure what they have in the back. My hope is that it's another Flyer that Walrein can do well against. So I'm going to go ahead and no shield the first Dynamic Punch, but I will shield the second one if they get to it. This was a bit quick, but I go ahead and shield anyways. I'm like, that was a bit quick. It was a Brutal Swing. Forgot that it got that charge move. I haven't seen this Pokemon in a long time, but the final Pokemon is actually going to be the Hisuian Samurott. Brand new spicy, so shout out to my opponent for bringing the spice here into the Ultra League. I believe that's the shiny one as well. It does look very shiny to me. But Verizion right now is smiling as it can do massive super effective damage with Sacred Sword and Double Kick. So that is going to be a good game, very well played. Alright, moving into, we got a few more. Moving to the next one, we got Charizard here on the lead. So pretty good lead with Powder Snow. This is going to be Wing Attack Charizard as well. Powder Snow and Icicle Spear, a lot of neutral damage. Fire Flyers are pretty common, Talonflame and Charizard. But thankfully, Walrein does neutral against them. We do take neutral back with Blast Burn, right? Or Incinerate, or Fly, or Dragon Claw, right? But it's not enough to KO. Now, we do see them swap into Walrein, so we're going to go ahead and bring in the Poliwrath, as this does pretty well in the matchup. We do need to watch out for Earthquake, so I will decide to no shield right here. I think we can survive, which we do. Plenty of health. And I'm going to go ahead and go for an Icy Wind. Now, in hindsight, looking at this matchup, I should have shielded the first Earthquake, then thrown an Icy Wind, so that the next one just doesn't do as much damage. But I'm forced to shield here now, right? I need to maintain Switch Advantage. I have a lot of energy on Poliwrath, and that can go a lot of places. Remember, Icy Wind is neutral, so we do see the Charizard come back in. We're going to go ahead and go for these Icy Winds, and this is huge right now. This is huge. This does quite a bit of damage, as we will be able to get to the next one in time, forcing the final shield of this game from our opponent. And I decide to counter swap here into Wall Rain, thinking I had the Icicle Spear, but I was one fast move away. That was a huge mistake on my end. Sorry, it was a huge mistake on my end for not having the charge move banked on my Wall Rain when theirs came in. You always want to bank a charge move. I just made a slight error in judgment, but ideally you want to bank a charge move when you swap out in the right situations, which that was when their Wall Rain came in. I just make sure I get to an Icicle Spear, then swap out. But ultimately, I think Verizion can take it right here, even though the Greninja, I think it got the boost right there. We're going to go ahead and go for the Leaf Blade. Sorry, my whole family's sick, everyone. Kids, wife, it's bad. But we go for the Leaf Blade here, and we should be able to go for Sacred Sword now against Charizard, and then swap into Poliwrath and counter down. So that is going to be a good game, very well played. We can easily shield right here and take this one. This game wouldn't have been as close if I banked the energy or just didn't swap out, just didn't do a counter swap, right? If I just came in, I think it would have been over. But good game to my opponent. Close one. Way to come back right there. Capitalizing on my mistakes. All right, we got Jellicent here on the lead. Another Pokemon that this team could struggle against, but honestly has really good movesets for it. Earthquake and Leaf Blade. Earthquake on the Wall Rain, obviously. Leaf Blade on the Verizion. So we're going to go ahead and no shield right here. I'm hoping that they have more steals in the back or something weak to fighters, because they do have a Jellicent lead, and they don't necessarily... I would hope they don't have flyers in the back. That's my hope. So we're going to go ahead and look to stay in. Now my opponent decides to not throw the Shadow Ball, so we will be able to go for the Earthquake right away. This could force a shield here, and it doesn't. They decide to no shield. So now I'm concerned that they might have something weak in the back to Wall Rain, so I will give up a shield, stopping the Shadow Ball, and they do swap out into Drapion. So I got to bring in Poliwrath. Now, this could be a huge mid-game matchup for me if they have Crunch and Aqua Tail, but unfortunately, they have Sludge Bomb. That does quite a bit of neutral damage. We do have Icy Wind here to do neutral right back, and also apply the attack debuff. Which is pretty big in this situation, because now we should be able to shield and fully farm down. Yes, we've given up 2 shields in this game, and they still have their 2, but their Jellicent is extremely low. Their Drapion is out of the game, and they only have 1 Pokemon remaining. So let's see what's going to be. It's going to be Mandibuzz. This is huge. Mandibuzz coming into this matchup right now means that I can freely go for Icy Winds, super effective damage, apply debuffs. We have Wall Rain. They decided to come in with Jellicent. I try to farm down, but I don't get it in time. But I think this is just a Surf, which it is. We survive. That's huge. We go for an Icy Wind now against Mandibuzz. And Mandibuzz has Snarl as a fast move, which is actually really good because we resist it, which allows us, because of the Icy Wind debuff, it allows us to get to another one in time. And this is where Poliwrath becomes so disgusting, is when you apply these debuffs to Pokemon that can't clear them or can't do anything about it. It's super effective damage or neutral. It's a lot to deal with. And we really haven't had Icy Wind Pokemon in the Ultra League. Not common, I don't think, off the top of my head. And now we do. So Wall Rain right here, it's a fighter as well, right? You core break a lot of stuff. Wall Rain right here, we'll be able to go for Icicle Spears. They decide to shield, which is fine. We can go ahead and go for another one, and they decide to surrender, so that is going to be a good game, very well played. All right, that was the final battle. Yeah, this team, we'll go ahead and zip right back to the beginning. This team was good. This team was strong. It was fun to use. Obviously, I showed you guys right at the beginning. If you stuck around to the end, thank you. I really appreciate it. But like I showed you guys at the beginning, there was some really tough games, right? We had triple counters, right? We had Clefable, Giratina Altered, and a Cresselia with a double fighter team, and we came back and won that. This team has that flexibility that you need. There needs to be some team reading to it. ultimately, and Poliwrath can be a great safe swap, especially drawing out those flyers, or maybe Giratina. Hard counters to Verizion is the whole point, and you have Scald and Icy Wind for those matchups, which is really, really nice. So, hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Hope you guys enjoy the Ultra League. I'm going to be trying some more teams this week, along with the Retro Cup. I believe the Retro Cup. It was last week, all I did was Great League, because I knew this week Ultra League and Retro Cup was around for 2 weeks. I hope it's the Retro Cup, and I'm not messing up what league it is. I think it's Retro. But I'll be kind of bouncing in between those to try stuff out. So, like always, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.